Hi guys, welcome to my very first speed build in The Sims 4. Now, I am by no means a professional builder. I'm no sim proved. She is one of my all-time favorite builders on YouTube, and I definitely recommend checking her out if you don't already know about her, because she's just fantastic. She just has this way of like putting things together and creating builds that you just wouldn't think were possible. I am not at that level. I am okay with that. I believe in self-awareness and you know, no false advertising here. But building is something that I have always really enjoyed in The Sims. I've played every iteration of the Sims game since, you know, the original Sims 1, and you know, when I logged in to play the game, I was logging in for those aspects. But this weird thing really happened in The Sims 4 where I really just started getting into building and having more fun with those aspects. I mean, we could get into why that is, but maybe that's another video for another day. EA, don't at me. But I find the gameplay itself in The Sims 4 can be a little bit lackluster at times. So the plus side of that is that I have gained a greater appreciation for building, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. So I thought I would share some of the build aspects of this world just for people who are builders and are interested in that. But you know, obviously that's too long to put in the Let's Play, so here we are with the speed build. Okay, so these little black room hider things are actually, they come with the mod. They're really useful. They hide obviously any like space that you don't want the camera to be focusing on, but like when you zoom in on them, you can see through them a little bit. They're just really useful for hiding unused rooms or things that you haven't like built yet. And they're located in the Divide Debug menu. So glad we have that. They're really super easy to move. Now, as far as I can be able to tell through gameplay, Arnie did not build a specific apartment for her aunt and uncle. So I decided to go ahead and build one myself for my gameplay. And the idea is that, you know, Kimmy has come here and she is slowly going to be renovating her aunt and uncle's old apartment. So you'll often see me looking around looking for swatches and things that match some of the other apartments upstairs, because I wanted it to look like it was all built together. Yeah, and then I realized I was building in the dark, which is a no. So I went ahead and corrected that. I don't know why I do that. Like, I used to like read in the dark all the time as a kid. Like, my mom would yell at me. I've never had a problem with the darkness. So when I'm building, I like to do things in terms of storyline. So with this front room here, Kimmy having moved into her aunt and uncle's old home, I really like the idea of her just kind of plopping a bed down in the front room and making her way backwards. So you'll see later that, you know, when I put a bed down and whatnot, that it definitely becomes a bedroom-like space. But I wanted it to, you know, still very much look like a front hall. I went with an open plan feel for the kitchen / living room. And here I definitely wanted to provide the feeling of Kimmy sort of bringing a mix of her own furnishings and kind of mixing that in with what had been there before, providing that whole she's working her way, you know, backwards in a remodel feel. Getting this kitchen island just right was a nightmare. By the way, I'm sure you've noticed, but I do work with a lot of mods and custom CC. That's just, I don't know that I've always played that way, but definitely for The Sims 4, I have, you know, really picked up on, you know, using that more. And I really love it because there are some amazing CC and mod creators out there. And so if you ever see something that you like or that you want to link to, please just let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to provide those. I would beforehand, but I'm going to be real with you for a sec. I use so many now that figuring out the who and the why and the what of what's in each video would kind of literally be impossible. So if there's something specific that you see and that you like, I will happily do that research for you. I want to make sure that I give these mod creators their proper props because they make my life, my sim life, so much better. Adding a little bit of clutter here. I am all about the details. I think that little details like this, I love clutter items. I think they just bring a Sims home to life, you know? I went with the bright green chairs, and I think I eventually turned them to yellow as well. I went with bright colors over the metal aspects because Kimmy's just a really bright personality. She loves blue, she loves green, she loves sort of bright pastel colors. Oh, these sectional couches are amazing. You can snap them to each other. You can create almost any shape that you want to. You can create the longest couch in the world. This is some of my favorite custom content. Getting her a little TV area, and then, you know, a little place to do some painting. Now, I really like the idea of the bathroom kind of being in this weird corner and creating this hallway, especially, you know, since that hallway leads out to the balcony, just because to me that just screams apartment. I moved the easel into her bedroom. Yeah, so Kimmy's just kind of plopped her bed down in the front room there next to those really nice windows. And then I wanted to give her some books because she's a really big reader, you know, being a writer herself. And obviously she would need some writing space. Now, initially I started here in the front room, but I did find a much better office space, which you'll see later. As well as play testing the door. Now, we cannot lock doors yet because Little Miss Sam's, you know, neighbor management tool and whatnot, and the property management tool is not quite ready yet for the mod, but that will allow us to assign certain rooms and apartments to neighbors and help us manage these so that they are functional apartments, which I'm so excited for. Alright, so now we're heading into part 2 of the build, which is where I really focus on the rest of the apartment, which is, I really wanted it to look like it was still primarily taken over by her aunt and uncle's things. Like she had just kind of, as she's remodeling, she's just kind of shoving everything back into the back here. So I opened up this wall here, which eventually led me to having to like remodel the kitchen space and like move things upward. But ultimately, I ended up liking the kitchen a lot better for that. I changed some color swatches and added some new objects, and I ended up liking it a lot better. I went with a very earthy palette for her aunts and uncles' tastes just because, you know, they're explorers. I really like the idea of them having traveled a lot and collected a lot of knickknacks and things from other cultures, and I really thought brown kind of worked with that aesthetic, especially since a lot of the objects I ended up adding had lots of color to them. This is me trying to figure out what door works well here. This is where I struck gold and found the cutest office space. I love this window that he built into this apartment, like looking out over the street. I mean, how adorable is that? You can see down into the cafe. I mean, I'm kind of jealous. I wish I had a writing space like that. Now, since we're technically building off lot, as you can see, we have infinite amount of money. Money doesn't really make a difference when you're in build mode. But for the purposes of story, I was definitely working off the idea that Kimmy didn't have a lot of money. And then for the things that were left over from, her aunt and uncle's apartment, I really wanted to go with this idea that since they were away and traveling a lot, they didn't really have like a lot of up-to-date furnishings. I really wanted to go for a kind of quaint, almost ugly aesthetic. These corners, Jim, these corners. So originally I was going to sneak a nursery in here, which is why I really like that arch, just for having a nursery and then a bathroom attached to that where they would have washed a little Amelia and Amos. But eventually I got the even better idea to expand that office and just make it the office chic, just the space you wish you had. So yeah, this is me having a devil of a time figuring out what curtains I wanted to go in here in keeping with our so quaint it's almost ugly theme. And that song will be forever stuck in my head. Confession, I mean, I've been playing The Sims ever since Sims 1 came out. I am an OG player in that regard. I've enjoyed every iteration of the game that there has been. But if I had to choose a favorite, I would go with Sims 2. That's still my favorite in terms of gameplay. And I miss the lore that used to be a part of the Sims franchise. There's less of that in The Sims 4, which is why I really like how much lore this mod puts in. And in keeping with that, I'm working on the nursery here, or what used to be the nursery that Amos and Amelia, had when they lived here with their parents, when they were just babies. But so the idea that I went with is that, as Kimmy has been remodeling, she has kind of just shoved a lot of things into rooms to get them out of the way. So I really went for this cluttered sort of aesthetic. And I think that'll also help me out later with gameplay, because Kimmy came to Brook Heights with not a lot of money, and she's a writer, so that's not a very lucrative career. But she can start selling some of these things, and maybe if she gets herself into like a tight spot. I really wanted to give the sense that the wallpaper was kind of peeling and there in places, and again, that's just that she kind of shoved everything out of some of the other rooms into these back rooms to just kind of make room for new things. These rooms were so fun to do, just because I felt like it was a chance to really display her aunt and uncle's personality and the way that they lived before, you know, their tragic accident. So lots of different artifacts, lots of different, you know, interesting clutter items that Kimmy will have to figure out something to do with if she eventually wants to make this space livable for a family of her own. And there's the fact that she hasn't really told her cousins yet about everything that she's found out. Like, they weren't really in the right headspace to kind of consider figuring out the truth, going on this journey with her. But now that she has this information, she's got to figure out, like, she can't just keep it to herself forever. And they may have some feelings about her, you know, taking over the space, and we'll see if any kind of family drama erupts from that. So I love this office space so much. Honestly, guys, you know, this is the third time I'm gonna say it, but I wish the apartment that I live in, not this aesthetic, not even close. This is me trying to figure out which shelves I want in this room and ultimately failing to put bookshelves on them, but that's okay. I like the aesthetic anyway. And that's really kind of it for this build. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm incredibly grateful. New as a newborn babe out here on these streets, so each like, each subscribe means the world. If you want to see more of my content, please do like and subscribe. There are tons of different areas where we can build here in Brook Heights. There's also, Arnie has created an entire like blank world map where we can create our own open world. Mind blown. I don't know if I'm quite up to that challenge, but you know, as we go along, we'll see. I've also, if you ever want to see anything else that I've built, or in any of the other Sims households that I'm playing with, please let me know. Happy to share that. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next go around.